In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Excel 365's filter function and how you can use it with single criteria or multiple criteria. And it's going to be based on this table here, and it's called My Table. And these are the columns: order ID, order date, country, item type, sales channel, units sold, and revenue. And also at the end, I'm going to show you how you can use Excel slices instead in case you don't have access to the filter function. In this first filter function example, we want to show all the countries that are Greece. So we open up a filter function, and the first argument is going to be a table, which is the array, and in this case we call it my table. We select it, and the second argument is include. This is where we list all the criteria. So we're going to type my table again, and it's going to be in the country column, and the criteria is Greece. And the third argument is if nothing is found, what we want to return instead. We put down no data found. So as you can see, only those rows where the country is Greece is shown. The reminder of the formula is here. But filter, first argument is my table, the second argument is my table, the country is Greece, and third argument is nothing's found, no data is found. In the second filter function example, we want to show where the item type is office supplies and where the revenue is greater than £2,000. In this case, we've got multiple criteria. And in the filter function, for each of the multiple criteria, we need to put it in rounded brackets. And because it's going to be looking at both conditions, office supplies and whether revenue is greater than 2000, that's an and criteria, in which case we use a asterisk or a star in between the criteria. So we type the filter function again, and the array is going to be my table again. And we open up the first rounded bracket. So we're looking at the my table again, and specifically we're looking at the column called my item type, and it's going to be office supplies. Then we close the rounded bracket, and then in between the two criteria we put a asterisk. Then we open the second rounded brackets. It's going to be my table again for the second criteria, and this time we're looking at the revenue column, and we want to be looking for those revenues exceeding £2,000. Close the rounded brackets, and the last argument is when no data is found, we want to return the words no data found, and we press return, and you see only those records where the item type is office supplies and the revenue is more than £2,000 is shown. And here's a reminder of the formula. In the third example, we want to show all countries that are either Greece or United Kingdom. So to represent the or criteria, we need to separate each of the criteria in rounded brackets with a plus operator. So we're going to type in the filter function again. This time we're just going to be showing the first argument and the third argument because that's going to be the same for all the examples. So the first argument being the array, my table, and if no data is found, we're going to put no data found if nothing is found. And in between the criteria, we open up the first set of rounded brackets. It's going to be my table, and we're looking for the criteria in the country column. And we first are going to be looking for the Greece countries. Close the rounded brackets, and then we separate it with a plus symbol to represent all. And then we open up the second set of rounded brackets, my table, and it's going to be again the country column, and it's going to be this time United Kingdom. And close the rounded brackets and accept the formula. So this now shows all the countries that are either Greece or United Kingdom. And here's a reminder of the formula. In this example, we want to show where the item type is either personal care or cosmetics and where the revenue is more than £2,000. So to do this, if you split the problem in two parts, so if we handle the personal care or cosmetics first and then deal with the second part, the revenue, later. So I've already done the first part. So as before, in another example, we're going to be putting the criteria where where the item type is either personal care or item type, and we separate each of the criteria with a plus sign. And when we accept that formula, you see that all the item types, either cosmetics or personal care, are shown. Now, to introduce the and, we close the brackets for the or criteria with another set of rounded brackets, outer rounded brackets, and then between those rounded outer brackets, we put a star for the and criteria. And then we open up another criteria bracket. It's going to be my table again. And this time we're going to be looking at revenue, where it's greater than £2,000, and then close the rounded bracket for the third criteria, and then accept the formula. So this time you see that the list has been shortened now. So you can see cosmetics and personal care, but where the revenue is more than £2,000. And here's a reminder of the formula. In this fifth example, we want to show where the sales channel is offline, and we want to show it for the first 6 months of 2024, and it has to be sorted. The filtered output has to be sorted by order date ascending. So I've already got the formula in place, and the criteria are all and, so we separate each criteria with a asterisk, and say sales channel, as you can see, is offline. Now, when you're entering dates in the filter function, you can't put dates directly, so you need to represent each date using the date function, and that comprises of the year, month, and day. So in this case, your order date has to be greater than or equal to the 1st of January 2024, and the order date has to be less than or equal to 30th of June 2024. If you accept that formula, so you can see all of the offline sales for the first 6 months of 2024. As you can see, it's not in order date order. So what we do is we wrap the filter function output within a sort function. So the array is going to be handled by the filter function, and the second argument is going to be, which is going to be the sort index. So the sort index is the column number of your data set. So that's going to be the second column, which is your order date in the table data set. So we put 2, and the final argument is, do you want it in ascending or descending? We want it in ascending order, so it's 1. If you want it in descending, then it's -1, and that sorts the filtered output in order date ascending order. And here's a reminder of the function formula that we used. In this example, we want to list all the countries which contain the word land. So this is going to be a wildcard search. So I've got the formula, the filter function formula in place. So the particular column is country, and I've got the wildcard criteria land. And so this should work. No, it's not going to work because this doesn't evaluate to true. And for the filter function to work, each row has to evaluate to be true for it to be returned. So to get that to evaluate to a true for the country, you can't use it in this way. You need to use the search function. So type search, and the criteria is going to be land, and the text is going to be in the country column of my table. And that in itself, we need to see if it's a number, and if it is a number, that evaluates to true. And here you have all the countries where the string contains the word land. And here's a reminder of the formula. If you don't have access to Excel 365's filter function, you can instead use Excel slicer filters to filter your data. And this is going to be available to any version of Excel. So I've got this data set here, and it's set up as a table. If you want to set your data set as a table, you either press Ctrl T on your keyboard, or from your menu, click on Insert tab, and there's an option here called Table. And while you're in the Insert tab, if you go over to the right, there's an option here, a menu option called Slicer. If you click on that, that'll give you a list of all the slices available, and that relates to the field headers of your dataset. So in this case, I'm going to go for country, item type, and sales channel, and click on OK. So all the slices are now displayed, and you can resize them, you can reposition them, and you can choose any items in combination or on their own. So if you wanted to go for the country Belgium to Germany, click on Belgium, and while you're clicking it down, select Belgium to France, Germany. And let's go for clothes. And as you can see, and then let's go for offline. So as you can see, we've made selections on the country, multiple items on the country slicer, one item on item type, and one item on a sales channel. And this shows it's all dynamic. You can dynamically filter dataset without using the filter function, using the Excel slicer filter instead. Now, if you want to clear any of the slices, there's a button on the top right, and you can also press Alt-C on your keyboard. And as you clear it for each of the slices, the dataset eventually returns back to its original size, original state. Now, the big advantage of using tables in combination with slices is you can introduce a new column in your table, and then when you refresh your table, then the slicer will then show the new slicer relating to the new field. So I'm just going to move the slices out of the way, and what we want to do is we want to introduce a new column called order year, and that's going to be based on the order date. So on the right of the table, type order year, and as you can see, Excel automatically recognizes the new column as part of the table. So as you can see, this banded rows. Now, what we want to do is we want to create a year function based on the order date, and click on that down. It automatically copies the formula down. Now, next thing we need to do is go into data, click on refresh all, go back into the insert tab, click on slicer, and then you can see the new field order which we created, which we added to the dataset on the table, is now appearing as a slicer. Click on that new slicer order, and now you got all your years showing in addition to your dates. So rather than choosing every single date for say 2024, you can just press the button for order year 2024, and that shows all the sales for 2024. Thanks for watching, and watch out for my next video.